Guys, I can't believe I lost the best footage. What follows is not the best footage. I pulled out something that was way more impressive. I promise I'll get more. All right, you just saw the efficiency of this piece of equipment. It's simple and it works. I did try it on a pretty hefty pine stump and my tractor just didn't have the oomph. And I didn't want to keep beating on it. Maybe a 4 Series like Courtney has with the HD version would rip a stump out a little bit better. But this thing on bushes, shrubs, you know, the things that are just downright miserable to deal with, absolutely nasty. Could I give Courtney and GWT a couple recommendations to make it perfect, at least in my opinion? Make these teeth reversible. When they cut this, but bring them out here. So that way, you just flip it around. So instead of having to replace them, if you break some off, you just flip it around, you get a whole nother use out of the same deal. Super simple. It would make the end user really happy because if you're on your property and these break and you don't have one, which they didn't break, you can see they didn't break. If they do break, you can very simply flip it around and you get a whole nother use out of them. You don't have to quit your day, you don't have to go home, you don't have to go get replacements. You're good to go. Recommendation number 2. This thing does an excellent job of its job. What it doesn't do well is take away what you've just ripped out. Let's put a grapple on it. And the grapple doesn't need to be able to move massive stuff. All you have to do with a bush is get a hand on it. In this case, a finger. What about putting a, it doesn't have to be big, a small single tine grapple, okay, with a ram in the back to push it up. Or you could put one on each side, like, you know, Land Pride's grapple. You know, you could have a pivot point. You could have an axle here, basically a pivot point here, where you have a lever that pushes up and that actuates your thumb coming down, or your finger coming down. And then weld on here some little hands that come out here and give it a little extra stability so you can still dig with this guy. But see how this comes out here? Come out here with a hand just to help you get a hold of things. So you have a hand out here grabbing and a hand over here grabbing, and this guy comes down on top and goes whoop. I find myself switching. I mean, I've used it now, 3 important jobs. Or is it 4? There's been, I didn't film one of them because it was so close to my garage. I didn't want to, if I screwed up, I didn't want evidence of it. The ones that you guys saw were really important jobs that needed to be done. And it got rid of the roots. I don't have to worry about it. Excellent. I had to switch back to the grapple because now I need to take it back and there's no efficient way of grabbing anything with this. So Like I said, if you just had a single little arm that came down here, it would be out of the way. You could make it so it returned up really high, okay? Because you don't need to have a ton of power coming down. Literally, all it has to do is get a hand down here. And really, if it just had a little button hook around it, so it, whoopsies, my hand's out of the picture here. If it just had a little button hook on it, it doesn't have to come down here and grab right down to the bucket. Just make it so it's a hook, so you can get a hold of it, and you can drive away. All of us with third function valves, we already have everything here. We've already paid for having it. And you guys should make it an option, obviously, because this is a perfectly good piece of equipment without it. But you should make it optional or retrofittable or something. There's got to be a way to bolt it on here, okay? And it wouldn't be very hard to put a little bit of a material handling end to this. And it'll give you something to hook on. And bonus points, okay? What if this thing came out like this? I'm thinking on the fly here. What if it had a little curl to it, like a little fish hook? So not only would it just keep things or let you get a good manhandle on things. It's like these two fingers, okay? You're basically going like this instead of going like this, because obviously you can't do very much like this. But if you go like this, now you got a good handhold on things, okay? But what if it had a little fish hook on here so that you could hook and grab with it, and also doubles as a little hooking eye? Now, I do think they've made this a chain spot right here. I do need to look into it. And I don't remember Courtney ever saying anything about it, but I feel like this would be a great place for a chain. So you could come up to something, drop a chain around it, wrap it up, and pull. At least that seems to be, it looks like what it would be for. And that's fine. But I really think that this really awesome, simple piece of equipment could be hugely improved with an optional single finger grapple just to get a handhold around things. So I plan on obviously keeping this forever. I'm probably going to use the absolute crap out of this thing because brush always grows. And that's the reality of it. You're always going to have brush grow, and you're always going to have to take it down. So, you know, good job on them. I think this is a really great thing, and I'm not sure if you could make one of these by hand. I mean, unless you're cutting it all by hand. If you're going to pay a shop to custom make this, I highly doubt, first of all, you're not going to pay a shop to custom make this, weld it for you, paint it, and everything. A one-off. You know, it's the price it is because it's in production. But let's just say you had, you know, the skills and equipment to make this on your own. You're going to have several $100s worth of material in here. You're going to have probably, you know, probably $100 or something of consumables. You know, your time is worth something. I think it's a fair price. I think what it can do is phenomenal, as the video I think just showed. I mean, it's phenomenally efficient. So, those are my two recommendations. Great product. I think it's well worth getting. And, yeah, we're going to keep using it. Great day. Remember to like and subscribe.